Welcome back to Wise Wolf. I'm Kokil, and thank you for joining me to celebrate the full harvest moon today on the 7th of September 2025. As I sit here today in preparation for today's podcast, farmers around the world are gathering crops that they planted months ago, following rhythms older than civilization itself. The harvest moon is the full moon nearest the autumn equinox, that is the beginning of the autumn season, and is specifically known for its bright light that allowed farmers to work late in the evening. As of today's subject for the podcast, we're diving into something that governs every moment of our lives, yet might not even exist: time. I'll never forget the time when I was standing by an enormous crater-like formation in the Petrified Forest National Park in Arizona. A landscape that looks almost lunar, that made me realize for the very first time that we're living on this enormous, wild planet that is not only alive and breathing, but just as mysterious and fascinating like the others in our solar system. We're fortunate to have conditions that make it possible for us to inhabit this wonderland of a planet. The wind blew so strongly that it whisked my baseball cap into this deep crater where it looked like a grain of sand. As I drove further into the park, I came across these brightly multicolored rocks, except that those weren't rocks. They were trees that were over 200 million years old, transformed into crystallized rocks. I still can't wrap my head around that one. 200 million years. A human lifespan is about 85 years, just to give you slight perspective. The colorful hills that gave the painted desert its name are deposits from over 200 million years ago during the late Triassic period, before flowers existed, before there was any grass or even the mammals we have today. And there I was, a petite human who's existed for a fraction of that time, witnessing all of this unfold right in front of my eyes in complete awe of the beauty and magnitude of the creation. It was one of those moments where time just revealed itself as something so abstract and incomprehensible. All I could think of was, how did I get here, and what even brought me to this? And standing there, I realized how ridiculously tiny and limited our human sense of time and reality is. Now let's talk about the cosmic clock for a moment, just to put all of this in perspective. Earth is about 4.6 billion years old. If we compressed Earth's entire history into a single year, humans have been around for about the last 37 minutes. Recorded human history, the last 25 seconds. And your entire lifetime, less than a blink. The universe itself is roughly 13.8 billion years old. Scientists estimate it will continue to expand for potentially trillions of years. In ancient Vedic texts, time is described in cycles, not the linear progression we're used to, but vast wheels within wheels, eternally turning. These aren't just poetic metaphors. They're sophisticated mathematical frameworks for understanding time on cosmic scales. These cycles don't just mark time in the number of human years, they describe the quality of consciousness during different periods. Time in Vedic philosophy isn't just duration, it represents a quality, the very fabric in which awareness evolves and devolves. When one cosmic cycle ends, everything dissolves back into nothingness or pure potential, only to emerge again in a new cycle. It's like the universe breathing, expansion and contraction, manifestation and rest, creation and dissolution, over and over across eternity. This cyclical view suggests that time doesn't have a beginning or end. It has rhythm. Just like your heartbeat, just like the seasons, just like the phases of the moon above us tonight. In Hindu cosmology, time operates on scales that are mind-bending. A single day in the life of Brahma, the creator, lasts 4.32 billion years. That's almost exactly the age of our Earth. Coincidence? Brahma lives for 100 years in the cosmic time. When he dies, the entire universe dissolves, only to be recreated by the next Brahma. This cycle, called a Mahapralaya, involves numbers so vast they require scientific notation to express, and this is just one cycle within infinite cycles. Mahapralaya, or the Great Dissolution, is the Hindu concept of the final, ultimate end of the universe at the close of a Brahma's day, a Kalpa. It's a state of total cosmic dissolution where all 14 realms of existence are destroyed and reabsorbed into a subtle, unmanifested state of root energy, leaving only a profound void and the ultimate reality of Brahman. Vishnu, the sustainer, dreams these universes into existence across eternal time. Each breath of Vishnu contains countless universes being born and destroyed. These aren't just mythological concepts. They're sophisticated storytelling techniques used to describe the incomprehensible nature of cosmic time, ways our ancestors tried to convey that the time we experience as humans is just one tiny thread of an infinite tapestry. Now let's bring this home. Your body is its own time machine, operating on multiple rhythms simultaneously. Your heart beats roughly 100,000 times per day. Your cells replace themselves completely every 7 years. Your circadian rhythms sync with the Earth's rotation, responding to light and darkness in ways we're still discovering. Women's bodies follow lunar cycles that match the moon above us tonight. Many people report feeling more energetic during certain moon phases, more introspective during others. Your body works on its own clock. It knows things about time that your mind doesn't. It knows when to sleep, when to wake, when to be hungry. It follows rhythms set millions of years ago, long before clocks existed. Ever notice how time feels different when you're sick or in love or deeply focused on something you enjoy? Your brain's perception of time is remarkably flexible, expanding and contracting based on your internal state. Now, the great question here is, does time actually exist? Einstein showed us that time isn't fixed, it's relative. Time moves slower in strong gravitational fields. If you lived on Jupiter, for example, time would pass differently than it does on Earth. Astronauts on the International Space Station age slightly slower than we do down here. So which time is real? Earth time, Jupiter time, space station time? Some physicists argue that time might be an emergent property, something that appears to exist because of the way our brains process information, but isn't fundamental to reality itself. The universe might be more like a vast, unchanging block of space-time where past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. We just experience it sequentially because of how consciousness works. Now let's try a new thought experiment. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and all technology has disappeared. No clocks, no phones, no calendars. How would you measure time? You might find that you would naturally gravitate towards using the sun's position, the phases of the moon, changing seasons, growing plants, even your own hunger and energy levels, as well as behavior of animals around. You'd probably start living more in rhythm with natural cycles and feel more in sync with the world and life in general. You'd eat when hungry, sleep when tired, wake with the sun, and you might find that without artificial time pressure or technological distractions, your body settles into a rhythm that aligns with the rhythms of nature. Many indigenous cultures lived this way for thousands of years. They had sophisticated understanding of time based on natural cycles without worrying about the concept of being late or setting an alarm for the next day. Imagine tapping into this idea of keeping time using nature as the timekeeper, not your watch. So what that might look like is that you wake up with the sunrise or sleep an hour or so after sunset, eat at certain times of the day, feel more energetic in the earlier part of the day and more meditative towards the end. The only time when time seems to be against us is when it comes to societal and cultural conditioning. Sadly, we live in a society obsessed with timelines. Rigid structures deeply undermine the power and magic and flexibility of the human body, forcing the body to follow a checklist or a spreadsheet with deadlines. But what if this is artificial timekeeping designed to serve certain systems or for the sole purpose of building, maintaining, and running industries that would have to constantly battle nature in order to survive? Maybe time as we experience it is just a story we tell ourselves. Maybe time is a human story to organize thoughts, memories, and emotions in our brain, to keep track of this constant flow of information and to make life just overall manageable. Think about dreams. In dreams, time behaves completely differently. You can experience years in a single night or have conversations with people who died decades ago. Past, present, and future blend together. What if that's actually closer to how reality works and our waking experience of linear time is the anomaly? Mystics throughout history have described transcendental states where time disappears entirely. These might not be departures from reality, but instead they might be glimpses into reality's real nature. Time and rhythm are intimately connected. Have you ever thought about your rhythm of existence? Your heartbeat, your breathing, the way you walk, even the way you speak. Everything alive moves in rhythm. Music is organizing sound to a certain time. The planets orbit in mathematical rhythms. Seasons change in predictable cycles. Even galaxies rotate with their own cosmic beat. When we say someone has a good timing, we're really talking about their ability to sync with life's rhythms. The best musicians don't just play notes, they feel time, the spaces between the notes. They understand that rhythm isn't about rigid timing, but about fluidity, finding the groove that makes everything feel effortless. This is why I keep talking about movement as an essential aspect of overall wellness. It isn't a motivational advice, it's cosmic law, because every single thing around you is in constant motion. The earth is moving, our solar system is constantly moving, the whole universe is moving, so why wouldn't you? Stagnation not only goes against the fundamental nature of reality, but also against ourselves. Our minds and bodies aren't designed to be stagnant. We're made to move. That's how we align with the universe. That's how we get stronger and better through conscious movement. Now, it's important not to confuse movement with rushing. The kind of movement we're talking about is conscious, graceful, purposeful flow, moving with awareness and not frantic rushing. When you align with life's rhythms instead of constantly being at war with it, everything becomes easier. You start making deliberate decisions that bring you closer to your path. To put it all in perspective, let's take a look at our place in the cosmic hierarchy. An ant, for example, lives for maybe a few months. To an ant, a human lifetime of 80 plus years is incomprehensibly vast, like 2,000 ant generations. Now, if we flip that perspective and we become the ants to a higher cosmic being, let's say to a god, for example, who's looking down at us like the way we look down at ants. In Vedic cosmology, some gods and demigods live for millions of years. Indra, king of gods, experiences one day that equals an entire human lifetime, and even Indra is considered relatively short-lived compared to Brahma. To beings operating on Brahma's timescale, our entire human civilization, from the first cave painting to space travel, would be like watching a flower blossom, a brief, interesting moment in an infinitely longer story. Some of the oldest living organisms on Earth put even our human perspective in context. Phytoplankton have been evolving for over billions of years and playing a crucial role in shaping our planet's atmosphere and the evolution of complex life. The Earth's atmosphere only started accumulating significant amount of oxygen around 2.4 billion years ago, a process initiated by these ancient photosynthetic microorganisms. There are trees alive today that were saplings when Jesus and Buddha walked the earth. Quaking aspen colonies that have been alive for 80,000 years. Certain bacteria that have survived virtually unchanged for billions of years, like the cyanobacteria or blue-green algae with fossils dating back as far as 3.5 billion years ago. These microorganisms found in ancient rocks in Western Australia were the first life forms capable of photosynthesis and played a critical role in creating Earth's oxygen-rich atmosphere. Yet even these ancient beings are fleeting compared to geological time, and geological time is fleeting compared to cosmic time. We're all temporary expressions of something eternal, each playing our part in timescales we can barely comprehend. This isn't meant to make you feel small or insignificant. It's supposed to free you from your own tyrannical way of thinking, that your personal timeline is the center of everything, and losing your grip on the simple joy of being alive. Your body carries timekeeper wisdom from millions of years of evolution. It knows about seasonal cycles, lunar rhythms, the perfect timing for healing and growth. Plants know when to bloom, animals know when to migrate. Your body knows when you need rest, when you need movement, and when you're ready for change. But we often override these natural rhythms with artificial schedules, trying to force productivity and growth according to calendar years instead of personal seasons, forcing our bodies into unhealthy patterns of thinking and living. So what if you started listening more closely to your body's rhythm? What if you honored the seasons of your own energy and creativity instead of trying to force it to do something it no longer wants to do? What if you accepted the changes that the body goes through over time and worked with them rather than against them? What if you paid more attention to your breath, how it travels all throughout your body in the form of oxygen in the blood? Now, another fun concept related to time is, of course, time travel. So, if time isn't linear the way we experience it, then concepts like time travel and parallel universes really do start to make more sense. Einstein's relativity already shows us that time is flexible. Travel fast enough or get close enough to a massive object, and time literally slows down for you relative to everyone else. For example, if you live in a high-rise apartment building, you're actually aging slightly faster than someone living on the ground floor by a few nanoseconds, because you're farther from Earth's center of gravity, even by just a few 100 feet. Time moves a tiny bit faster for you. Here's another example for perfectly explaining relative motion and how perspective affects what we observe, which is also a crucial part of understanding time and reality. In a sense, astronauts are already time travelers. They return from space having aged slightly less than people on Earth. But some physicists go further. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics suggests that every possible outcome of every quantum event creates a parallel universe. That means there might be infinite versions of you living infinite, slightly different lives across infinite timelines. In one universe, you might have taken the job you turned down. In another, you moved to a different city. In another, you were born in a different century entirely. If this is true, then all possible versions of your life exist simultaneously across the multiverse. Ancient Vedic texts describe something remarkably similar. Infinite universes exist within the breath of Vishnu, each with its own timeline, its own version of reality playing out according to the infinite possibilities of consciousness. So maybe déjà vu isn't a glitch in memory, but a glimpse into a parallel timeline. Maybe those vivid dreams where you live an entirely different life aren't just imagination, but actual experiences from alternate versions of yourself. This isn't just science fiction anymore. The choices you make right now might be creating new timelines, new possibilities, new versions of reality. And the mystery goes further. It deepens in that if time doesn't exist in the way we think it does, what does that mean for everything we believe about life, death, past, and future? If all moments exist simultaneously in the same moment, in some eternal now, then every version of you that has ever existed still exists somewhere in space-time. The child you were, the elder you'll become, the you listening to this right now, all equally real, all happening now from some cosmic perspective. Mind you, this isn't just philosophical speculation. Quantum physics suggests that at the fundamental level, reality might work in ways that completely contradict our everyday experience of time and causation. The ancient Vedic sages understood time as both reality and illusory, fundamental and constructed. So how do we live with this mystery? How do we function in a world of clocks and deadlines while knowing that time might be the universe's greatest magic trick? I think it starts with trusting your internal rhythms more, learning to tune into your body and tuning out of external noise, paying more attention to the flow of your own breathing and relaxing into it. Learning to step out of your thought into your being through meditation. Some flowers bloom in spring, others in fall. Some trees grow fast, others grow slowly, but live for thousands of years. You don't have to figure out the mystery of time. You just have to remember that you're part of something infinitely more sophisticated than calendars and clocks. And here's something fun for you to try. For one day, or even just a few hours, try living by your body's rhythms instead of the clock. Pay attention to when you feel hungry and eat only when you're hungry. Rest when you feel tired. Move your feet to a rhythm that awakens your entire being. Tune inwards and tap into your body's rhythm, its natural flow. Use these rhythms to connect with the higher consciousness. Pay attention to the natural cycles you can observe, the sun's path, the moon's phase, the way light changes throughout the day. Feel yourself as part of the cosmic dance rather than separate from it. And remember that rock I mentioned, made from petrified wood, holding 200 million years of Earth's history? You carry even more time than that. You carry the entire history of the universe in every atom of your being. You are 13.8 billion years of cosmic evolution becoming conscious of itself. So that's all for now, folks. Thank you for joining me once again to explore the mystery of time under this glorious harvest moon. Until our paths cross again next month, remember that you exist in perfect timing even when it doesn't feel that way. Trust the rhythms that live deeper in your core and in your code. Once again, before you sleep tonight, step outside and look at that ancient moon that's been hanging up there for billions of years, pretty much like you. Stay curious and happy full moon.